3, 2.
Freedom Forum 2.
We're back.
We're back. Let's start with a prayer. This is from our good friend Brock. Inner strength. Dear God, please give me the strength to endure this situation and to find the blessings and lessons that it contains. Please give me the endurance to continue ahead. Please guide my thoughts, words, and actions so that I walk your path of peace and love. Amen. We had pretty good discussions the first half, good phone call. There's some interesting things going on for the April 9th ballot. The one thing that happened is the school board pulled their millage thing. That's gone for now. And I think we may have had a little influence in that.
One can hope.
I have the ballot, printout of part of the ballot. Said this is a sample ballot provided to convenience of the voters for the election on April 9th, 2016. Ballot number 28-001. Okay, on the agenda, on the ballot, is PW Bayou Vermilion District Proposition number 1. 0.75 mils. I don't know what BOC stands for. For 10 years. Select 1. Shall the Lafayette Parish Bayou Vermilion District, State of Louisiana, continue to levy and collect a special ad valorem tax of 0.75 of a mil on all property subject to taxation within the district? An estimated $1,561,000 reasonably expected at this time to be collected from the levy of the tax for an entire year, for a period of 10 years beginning with the year 2017 and ending in 2026, for the purpose of, this is where you need to listen, constructing, acquiring, improving, operating, or maintaining facilities or other public improvements included in, and here is the key, in the master plan. What is the master plan? In existence at the time of such expenditures and prepared for the manner provided by Chapter 32, Title 33 of the Louisiana Revised Statutes of 1950 as amended.
I don't know about you, Jim, but I'm paying too many taxes as it is.
Well,
I don't want any more taxes.
my biggest concern here is that
Master plan?
what is the master plan? If you're going to put that in a bill, then you need to give what the master plan is, because most people don't have any clue what the master
But Jim,
plan
they're
is.
counting on the sheeple not to be able to read or understand this. That's why they put stuff in that legalese type of terminology. So people will just go in and pull a switch.
But it's basically what I hear here is that we'll approve the tax and they'll spend the money wherever the hell they want. I mean, wherever the heck they want.
That sounds like typical government.
Exactly. So I would say no.
They lie. The first thing, anytime a politician opens their
I'm not
mouth,
supposed to influence people.
suspect, they lie. Take it for granted, they lie.
Okay, here's the second one. This is a $4 million bond. The Lafayette Parish Bayou Vermilion District, the district incurred debt and issue bonds to the amount of not exceeding $4 million to run not exceeding 20 years from the date thereof, with interest at rate or rates not exceeding 8% per annum, for the purpose of constructing, acquiring, or improving any work of public improvement included in the master plan. Here again is that word, master plan.
I'm afraid to ask what the
what
master
I'm
plan
gonna have
is.
to do now? I have research to do. I have to put in Lafayette Parish Master Plan. See what happens.
I'd be afraid to see what that is.
In existence at the time of such expenditures and prepared in the manner by title, as amended, title to which shall be in the public, which bonds will general obligations of the district and will be payable for ad valorem taxes to be levied and collected. Here is what the millage is: 0.17 mills to be levied in the first year of issue to pay said bonds.
Again, I'm a tax protester. I think we pay too many taxes already, and I think the money is wasted by government, and I think they need to cut back. For example, let's just use an example. I saw the actual figures one time. Gasoline is taxed something like between 6 and 8 times from the ground to the pump. And we, the consumers, get hit at every point in there. And it's a travesty. But
It is. And seeing what the person that brought this to my attention said, both of these state that the money will be used for the purpose of constructing, acquiring, improving, operating, or maintaining facilities or other public improvements included in the master plan in existence at the time of such expenditures.
But the last sentence is the critical one.
Oh, yeah. This money could be used for anything at the whim of the sitting city council, or dare I say, one Acadiana.
But Costco is exempt.
For 11 and a half years,
So
no
let's get
taxes.
this. Let's get this straight.
So me, a little businessman, I gotta pay taxes on everything. They never gave me a 10-year break.
But the big boys are tax-free for 11 and a half years. Now, how much money do you think a Lafayette Costco can make in 11 and a half years? Could be a lot.
Billions.
Could be a lot.
I bet a lot of those people that are staring at us would vote yes for this,
Oh, I'm sure.
for I-49.
Jim, I still say we should have got one of the cameras and had our cameraman Hartwell here go live, and we could broadcast live from that meeting. I bet we'd have got an interesting response.
Tell you what, people, study that ballot. My friend says no,
April
no,
9th?
and no.
April 9th?
April 9th. But what do you got over there? I mean, these are things that is our obligation to you, the public, to make you aware of this. Because the way things work today, the general public walks into the booth and goes, oh yeah, yes, yes. And that's what they bank on. But you know what? 90% of those people that say yes don't own a house.
That's right.
You know, they used to call that a poll tax, but the interesting part about it is, to me, if you are not a homeowner, nor do you pay income taxes, should you have a say? If you don't pay, no say. But of course, they'll say that's discriminatory because it's a poll tax. What I've got here, finally, folks, an atheist group objects to Muslim prayer spaces at University of Iowa. Folks, I'm finally happy to see my resident atheists are being inflicted like a Scud missile on the Muslims. Because I have said all along, if the atheists can go after the Christians, then the Muslims ought to get equal time and equal application. Because what we actually have, folks, I don't know if y'all realize this, but let's go a little history lesson here. There is no separation of church and state. That was initially mentioned in a letter from Thomas Jefferson to another party. What we have is that the government cannot establish a state religion. So why are people not jumping up and down because we have Islam that seems to be our state religion? Oh, I saw something very scary on the net, and I'm going to have to investigate further, but I heard that CIA Director John Brennan was overseas on a trip and converted to Islam.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me.
So that makes it almost a full pass in all of the cabinet seats and the officials all being Muslim of this nation. And you wonder why we have problems? This was done at the University of Iowa, and it is a Wisconsin-based Freedom from Religion Foundation, and it is questioning the appropriateness of 2 prayer rooms created for Muslim students. Well, sounds like the atheists have gotten it right for once, you know. woe be it am I to congratulate the atheist, but hey, do what you got to do. You know, those Muslims, they're violating everything you can. They're making female children wear burqas in school on trips. They're doing different Muslim chants and all this stuff, and the parents are going nuts. I think that parents ought to be going after that for freedom from religion. Now, here's another interesting thing that I saw, and you won't show up well on camera, but basically what this is a graph that shows the coordination between government action and gun control and crime. And what happens, it's pretty interesting because right here, where gun control is extremely low, is the Wild Wild West. And you'll notice it's very low. Then we go to union-led gun control laws enacted. Now, prohibition, the homicide rate goes through the roof. Prohibition ends, it goes down. Post-JFK assassination gun control, the homicide rate is low. The war on drugs begins, the homicide rate goes up, states issue concealed carry permits, and all of a sudden, gun homicides and everything else goes down. So what we see is a statistical correlation that has been tracked, that every time gun laws kick into effect, it's amazing. Homicide rates go up. Where do we have the worst homicides? First place, Chicago.
It's up, I forget what percentage.
Strictest gun control laws. I want to say they said it was up like 400% or some crazy figure like that. Baltimore, Maryland, D.C., little places like that. Detroit. Every bastion of liberal, Democrat, progressive, communist policy. But we all know that
They have the strictest
oh yeah,
gun laws in Chicago.
New Jersey has been snagging out-of-state people coming through with lawful permits and has been going after them. So much for Christie and his gun reform. Now here's another one that I thought that was very interesting. Folks, we had a brokered convention many years ago that was significant because it changed the nature of our country. Back in 1860, America was very much divided. Democrats in the South were mischaracterized, and Republicans in the North mischaracterized those in the South, and a civil war was on the horizon. Could have been called the Republican-Democrat war, almost like it's looming right now. At the time, a GOP nominee needed 233 delegates to win the nomination. The leading candidate was a William Seward out of New York. He secured only 173.5 delegates. How you get half a delegate? They cut somebody in half? I don't know. The second and third candidates accumulated 102 and 54 delegates, respectively. He was the clear delegate leader. Ooh, sounds like Trump, Seward, And Seward was a strong anti-slavery, pro-immigration, pro-Catholic candidate. The GOP establishment, here it pokes his ugly head up in 1860, feared his latter positions would jeopardize Northern support. Nativism was popular, and nobody wanted the Pope to run the country. Well, we know that doesn't happen. Yeah. He only wants to stop us from building a wall and wants us to immigrate more jihadis. So there was a silly notion that the Pope was busy maintaining the world's biggest wall around Vatican City. Well, we know there's a big wall there. Seward's top contender was more moderate. The second ballot in the second place candidate surge saw the second place candidate surge from 102 to 181 delegates, while Seward decreased to 184. The challenger continued his momentum on the third ballot, securing 231 delegates compared to Seward's 180. Well, this gets interesting because the final ballot stunned the nation, and the initial second place challenger was 349 delegates to win the nomination. The challenger, who came from a distant second to overwhelmingly win the GOP nomination in 1860, was that butcher, that raper of the South, that burner of houses, crops, thief of animals, and scorched earth policy, Abraham Lincoln.
Wow.
Yes, indeed. There are those who say Abraham Lincoln was the father of our country. Well, I got news for you folks. Those of us who live in the South, if Abraham Lincoln would be alive today, he'd be on trial with Slobodan Milosevic for war crimes. He authorized Sherman and Grant to burn all crops and food sources,
Exactly.
to rape, pillage, and burn, and the South was raped according to policy. And the Civil War resulted in 620,000 deaths. Thanks, Mr. Lincoln. Because Lincoln illegally attacked the South because of the Tariff Acts of 1828 and 1832, tried to tax our cotton crops, and tried to prevent the secession, legal secession, of southern states who were within their constitutional rights to do so. All because of money. And there is our history lesson for the night.
Money.
Gee.
Gee, it's not a problem today.
You know what's funny, Jim? Our cotton exports from the South in 1860 was estimated at $2 million back then. Could you imagine that would be today?
You don't see many cotton fields anymore.
You have to go up to North Louisiana, Forest Hill, to Alexandria. I've seen a few cotton fields.
Yeah, I saw some.
You don't see that
a
many
couple of
anymore.
years ago, I went I went up to Monroe and up in that area, in Claiborne, and I saw the cotton fields, but it was a disaster because they had a drought.
Yeah.
The cornfields were like,
And Jim, here's one that was interesting.
oh,
The Georgia governor vetoes the Religious Liberty Bill under pressure from the NFL. Folks, you know the country is going to hell when sports teams dictate law and policy. That is when you know we are truly going down. When people worry more about Tom Brady and Deflategate than the fact that 4 people died at Benghazi, Libya, and the whore of Babylon is running for president, and nothing ever happens to her. She's better than a Teflon skillet. Nothing ever sticks to that witch. I mean, I don't know if anybody has a house big enough to drop on the bad witch of the
I
West
often
named Hillary.
wonder, you know, Tom and I discussed this at one time. The conscience. You know, that's what Tom told me. I said, when I come back in another life, I know what I'm going to be, a crooked politician. And Tom went, no, you won't. First of all, you got too many morals, and second of all, you got a conscience.
Yep.
And he said, you would fail at being a crooked political person.
Well, this is pretty interesting because Nathan Deal, the governor of Georgia, vetoed this and said that protecting the religious liberties of individual citizens does not reflect the character of our state. Obama said the same thing, that we're a Muslim nation and going against the Muslims does not reflect our nation. I remember in 1775.
When did we become a Muslim nation?
Wait. I remember in 1775, we created Uncle Sam's misguided children and sent them to Libya to slaughter some Muslims who were taking our people hostage and selling them into slavery. And the Marine Corps has a very fine and long history of fighting Muslims. Amazing.
People just don't understand that this is 1,400 years of history. 1,400 years. One of my, I promised, and hopefully somebody called Nancy so she can hear this. She always told me that I don't understand why you're so down on charter schools and the RSD schools in New Orleans. She said they're a perfect example for the rest of the country.
It's a travesty. It's all a Ponzi scheme.
Okay, here's the deal. I go to New Orleans on business every so often.
And you visit.
And I visit. I mean, I actually had somebody ask me, how do you get into the school?
Hey!
I never knocked. There's a front door. And it opens. And then it says office.
Jim, I'm making a psychic prediction they're going to have a wanted poster of Jim Crumbling, and they're going to post it at schools, and it's going to be put up like an active shooter warning, and it's going to have a disclaimer that says, attention, if you see this man, lock the school, hide the children, run.
Lockdown.
He's after your charter school.
But you know what? The visits were very educational. The principals talked to you. They allowed me to speak to teachers.
Well, the low-level people are not the bad guys. It's the Nancy Landrys and the Holly Bofies that are making the money that are the evil
Here's
ones.
the other thing. Those schools were supposed to be brought up structurally.
Yeah, right.
I didn't want to eat in the cafeteria, I can tell you that.
The food still kicks when it's going down?
You know, but here's the deal. And I'm glad to see that some of these people are
They're
stepping
paying
up.
attention.
It says, beware, this is an Arkansas blog.
Out of
This
state.
was sent to Arkansas. 2 Supreme Court justices defend. Beware, talk of charter school miracles, say New Orleans and Chicago school activists.
Wow.
School activists from New Orleans and Chicago have written an article to warn Arkansas legislators and the public about claims of miraculous education results in those cities.
Oh, you mean those doctored test scores that we saw from New Orleans?
They're cut scores.
Oh, that's what they call that.
Yes, they're cut
Erase,
scores.
erase, change number, change number.
Because of a mass movement to charter schools. It was provided to me by the Arkansas Opportunity to Learn campaign, one of 9 organizations that yesterday announced their opposition. You ready? This is awesome. This is in Arkansas now. Their opposition to the Walton Family Foundation.
No, they're going against Walmart. No.
Backed school privatization bill pending in the legislation.
Now, what is this, Jim? These are more billionaires that are interfering in the schools with communist agendas.
Here, it's important now. House Bill 733 by Bruce Cozart would allow privatization of any school or school district found in academic distress. How many schools do you think in New Orleans are in academic distress?
Draw a circle around the city and just drop the ink.
I had somebody say to me the other day when we were just talking generally about education, he said if we pulled the New Orleans schools out of the thing, we'd probably be in the top 20. I didn't say that, but I have said it. And people are starting to get.
They're wising up, huh?
The 48 school Little Rock School District was put in distress for low test scores in 6 of its schools, but the bill could be applied district-wide. In a takeover, the state already had broad powers to bring in an outside operator,
We know who that'll be.
but it cannot invalidate the Fair Dismissal Act.
Hey, Jim, do you think Lane Grigsby will be going to Arkansas to do construction projects?
Already there.
Ooh.
And bust the Little Rock Teachers Union. This is what about. HB 1733 would allow those steps along with the expropriation of tax millage and facilities at no cost for largely unaccountable private operators.
Unaccountable.
Unaccountable, the key word.
So they get the money, but they're not accountable for
Now,
anything.
here's a warning from New Orleans and Chicago parents about school privatization. One of the schools, by the way, has gone back to the public school, has gone back to the school board.
Because it didn't work.
Really? Arkansas is considering grand education experiment HB 1733. The school privatization model imposed on New Orleans and Chicago have many flaws. You heard that, Nancy? The chief flaws are the ideas that we have systems built on parents' choice and that choice improves student learning. Nothing could be further from the truth. New Orleans has, get ready now, this is really good, and y'all go to those committee meetings over there and listen to Nancy. New Orleans has closed 20 schools in the Recovery School District over the last 5 years. Displacing, listen to this, displacing over 4,000 children. In Chicago, 50 schools were closed in 2013 to make way for new charters. They took away our neighborhood schools to give us their idea of school choice. School closings, huge numbers of charters, and other such interventions do not equal choice. Someone chose for us without our input or okay.
Kind of like taxation without representation.
Chicago and New Orleans got a wave of privatization instead of investing in community schools that families could count on in their own neighborhoods. We got ideology instead of research-based practices. It made education worse in our communities.
What they got was Common Core.
The deal was they had an opportunity in New Orleans to rebuild
And do it right.
and do it right. Now we know who the problem was. He's in jail.
Nagin.
Yeah. He had a chant, Chocolate City. I could not believe when I heard that.
Oh, I could believe it. That sounds like a Ray Nagin.
And I know, the thing is, I know several police officers that are family and otherwise that left New Orleans because they feared for their life under Nagin. And I'm not going to say why, but you can figure it out. More on the jump. Theoretically, parents could send their kids to any school in the city. The reality is we now have to enter a lottery just to have a school for our children anywhere in the city. If we don't get our children into the school of our choice, we no longer have a neighborhood school to fall back on. This is chance, not choice. I think you get the gist. There's some stuff over here I read. So many boy, I don't know what's. So many outside people came to New Orleans and Chicago to help reform our public education system, but they didn't come here and ask us what we wanted.
They're not going to.
They came here with their ideas of what they thought education reform was about. They often had little practical experience or research to support their theories, Common Core. With heads of full ideology, they never took the time to get to know us. Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Hello?
I just wanted to call in. I don't know if you've covered this before, but every year, approximately 51% of black women pregnancies end up in abortions. So I would call that genocide of the black race by the Democrats.
Yeah, but they don't say that.
Now, if you look at the small amount of people that are killed in gun violence, it's hardly nothing compared to the.
Well, caller, that's an accurate fact. And the interesting part about it is that the person who started the abortion eugenics movement, Margaret Sanger, specifically wanted to eliminate blacks from the population. And the interesting thing is the black people have still not figured out
Exactly.
that the good Democrat Party is exterminating them before they ever have feet that hit the floor, and yet they still block vote for them. You got a good point.
They're voting for their own genocide. They don't even realize it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the government actually cared about us killing off each other with firearms, all they had to do was ban abortions, and they would save hundreds of thousands.
They don't want to do that, though.
Yeah.
Well, if you're a communist regime trying to subjugate its people,
Oh, yeah.
you know that eventually they may uprise against you.
Yeah, maybe later this year.
You have to. They don't care about us killing each other off. They only worry about
Us killing
us
them.
taking their power someday.
Yeah, they don't want to lose their
Well-
kickback.
You saw the latest thing from the DOJ and Obama, huh? They want them to take it easy on the black criminals.
Yeah, Loretta Lynch actually issued a statement where she wanted judges
That came from
to
Obama.
back off on harsh sentences on black criminals. So let me get this straight. Most crime committed in the black community is by other black people. So what Obama is saying is he wants more crime committed against his own people. But you know it makes sense if you figure Obama is a Muslim And the black people in the United States, for the most part, are Gentiles. So therefore, he's going against Muslims. I mean, non-Muslims. So it makes
if you
sense.
look at all the dictators, Saddam, Gaddafi, everyone, just before they're about to lose power, they release all of their criminals.
Correct. That's what Obama just did.
Hoping that it will backlash on us. And
Yeah, didn't he just
now
commute the sentences
they're
on a
doing the
bunch of
same
black
thing
drug
here.
dealers?
Yep.
So
Oh, yeah.
it doesn't look good for us. We've been conquered, and
Don't
no
even
one
know
even
it.
realizes it yet.
Well, the problem,
We
Carl,
realize it.
the problem is the fact that we have people who are worshiping at the great altar of the TV set and the TV remote, and they're more worried about whether Tom Brady would get in trouble with Deflategate than they are about whether our country is going to hell in a handbasket. That's where the real issue lies. Nobody cares about anything else. They only care about who's in the Final Four, who wins the World Series. They're worshiping at the gods of sports.
Exactly.
Every time I hear someone at work talk about the Kardashians or something, I shut them down.
You know,
Is that the most important thing on your mind right now? Is what
It is amazing, Carl.
Kardashians wore last night?
You know-
What about the destruction of our country?
that shows you the depth of depravity when all our people worry about is the comings and goings of a big butt slut. And that's basically what she is. I mean, I don't know if I'd even dignify her by calling her a whore, because I would probably insult the honored time-laden job of prostitution. I don't want to insult those ladies. They're hard working, whereas Kim is just out there. You know?
Oh yeah. I mean,
I was also reading that a lot of these so-called deaths in with using firearms,
They lump them all together.
They'll bunch them together like suicides and accidents and
to
whatever else.
Well, they have to do that because you see, that's why Fast and Furious was done. They were trying to bump up the violence numbers to say that our guns were somehow illegally ending up in Mexico, bumping up the violence stats. What they didn't count on was the fact that it would backfire and that 2 federal agents would die. And by the way, those deaths are on Hillary's head too, because she approved that as Secretary of State. And nobody's ever questioned those. So that makes 6 people dead on Hillary and Obama's watch, and all they worry about is the emails. I love it. I could care less about Hillary's emails. I don't care if she sent top secret stuff to Putin himself. We got 6 dead Americans in various circumstances, and nobody cares. Nobody cares.
well, I wouldn't say nobody, but in that level, nobody cares.
And Carl, you do remember we talked about that Brian Terry, Border Patrol agent, had beanbag ammunition in his shotgun because, as Mark Stein says, Janet Incompetano didn't want them to be too aggressive. So they're going up against drug dealers with full auto AKs, RPGs, with beanbag rounds. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable.
Yep.
Oh, that's nothing. When I was in Iraq, the government was supplying weapons to Al Qaeda at the same time. We're over there, and I used to, every time I'd run into someone where I felt like messing with them, I'd say, every time you get shot at, you probably paid for those bullets.
Well, you did, because Al Qaeda was actually Al-Qaeda. It's kind of like ISIS. They were us before ISIS was us. So it's okay. It's funny. It's kind of like a street gang, like the Crips that want to shoot at each other, because that's about what happened. Because we had one side the government's running. Oh, by the way, Carl, have you seen in Iraq right now that we have Pentagon supplied militias that are shooting at CIA supplied militias?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Hey, it sounds like, hey, Carl, that sounds like the Kardashians with guns.
I've dedicated my entire life to what I thought was putting my life on the line to defend this country, and now our government is supplying all of our enemies with weapons, and then they talk about how they're going to send us back to Iraq to go
Well, Carl,
fight them.
You don't have to worry about going back to Iraq, my friend, to fight the fuzzy wuzzies because Obama's bringing them here.
You're bringing them here.
Yeah, you don't have to go to the sand no more to shoot at Muslims, my brother. You're going to have fuzzy wuzzy muzzies over here to throw lead at. Coming to a theater near you.
He's brought almost 1 million Arabs to the U.S.
Hey, Carl, that's why Saudi Arabia is going broke right now because all the Muslims are over here.
Yeah.
There ain't nobody left over there to pump the oil.
That number, by the way, has not yet been verified.
It could be more.
It could be more. It
At
could
the
be
rate they're
less.
sneaking across the border.
Well, sneaking. They don't have to sneak. They
It only takes
They
a
come
few
in and go,
thousand,
"Hi, Mr.
and,
Border Patrol guy."
They could completely destroy this country.
Well,
500, was it 535 in Washington, D.C.?
yeah, but that was only for Obama's goat party. They heard Obama was passing out free goats. So, hey, little marijuana and a free goat, you can get a Muslim up there quick.
Yeah, I want to.
You heard of the No Means No campaign? There's a new one. It's called Bah Means No.
Are you trying to say that colleges are going to have to make safe spaces for the goats now because the Muslims are going to be in hot pursuit?
Goat-free zones.
Oh!
Uh-oh.
Well, you know, if you just want to catch a bunch of Muslims, you just corral you a bunch of goats in your backyard and turn out the lights and wait for the pervs to come over.
But Carl, that is hunting a baited field. Wildlife and fisheries may make that illegal.
We got to take care of our buddy John.
Yeah.
You know, when I was in Iraq, I had read an email about the Muslim goat humpers, and I thought it's got to be a joke. So
It wasn't.
I went to the nearest little Iraqi bazaar.
And you asked the question.
Iraqi dude selling, he had stacks of Korans piled up. He was selling the Koran. So I figured, who would know better than him? So
He asked.
I came up to him with a straight face, and I said, I hear the Koran says that you may, they call it lay with a goat. So I didn't want to say goat humper, so I said, well, is that true? And
We don't want to mix our
I'm
issues.
expecting some outrageous answer, and the serious face, the Iraqi's like, oh, yes. It is much better to lay with a goat than sin and fornicate with a Muslim woman. So, and I tried to keep the straightest face, not to die laughing, but,
Hey, Carl.
so it's real.
You know what we're going to find next? Our good buddy John, the goat man, is going to be installing those credit card slide-through boxes on top of cell phones for his goats.
Might as well make some money off of it.
Yeah, hey, it's better billing.
We got to move forward here.
Yep. Yeah, we're going to have to move on to some other issues, but we appreciate the
I
call.
wanna finish this.
All right,
There's
see
some
y'all later.
stick-
Yeah.
Thanks, buddy. Here's some interesting stuff now on the statistics about these great RSD schools. Charter and contract schools that have replaced closed schools since 2002 perform well. 56% of the RSD schools were rated D or F
My.
at the end of 2013-14 school year in New Orleans. Not one RSD school was rated A. Less than 10 were rated B, and 20 were rated C.
Going downhill fast.
107 schools that were scoring below state average and placed in the Recovery School District after Katrina in 2005. Only 9 years of state control. Only 4 of the 107 schools taken over by the RSD are above the state average. But they're doing well, Nancy.
What it is, they're filling her pockets, they're filling Holly Bofi's pockets, and the kickbacks are flowing. Sounds like Louisiana politics.
But I'll tell you
Isn't
what,
Edwin Edwards happy? Everybody learned something,
I've been going in and out of New Orleans since Katrina,
right?
into different certain neighborhoods where I have clients. And it is improving. I mean, as far as the repair of the city and all that stuff. But I read this, you know, and then you got an idiot up in Arkansas that believes John White, Holly Bofi, and people like Nancy Landry on how great our RSD system is. What? You know, I just saw what our illustrious Dumbbell
Edwards.
did with the House Education Committee. It was too slanted Republican, so he eliminated. Pope quit. He's a good guy. He just had enough. You know, he pulled off Northwest Louisiana's only representative on the Education Committee, pulled him off, put him on another
So he's
committee.
turned it communist.
Yeah, and then added these other.
Well, Jim, what you're saying is that, in effect, everything that we warned the voters about Dumbbell Edwards, he is now doing. He is a hardcore tax and spend liberal communist.
You know, I will say this, that I have school teachers coming up to me and saying, Jim, we really thought you were a person that hated John Bell Edwards. I didn't hate John Bell Edwards. I knew what he was. 3 years, lunch, breakfast, meetings, downstairs,
He is what he is.
committee meetings.
He's a communist.
You know, I didn't sit in those meetings for 6 hours sometimes all day and not learn something. The problem is, people should do what a lot of my friends do. Go to those committee meetings. You don't have to talk.
Just sit and listen.
I have one Senate education meeting when Conrad Appel,
Comrade Opel.
and
Leading
my
communist.
brother-in-law from Arizona was here, and he went to the education.
Oh, he must have got a kick out of that.
And I told him, watch. He said, where are you going? I said, oh, I got a seat down front. And he said, really? And he sat down.
Is that when John White comes and sits on the side of you?
Well, yeah. But the key is that Conrad Appel is here and Jim's here.
Dead. He can't look away from you. He's got to look at you.
And when we were leaving the committee meeting, he says, you really intimidate that guy. I didn't say anything.
You just sat there and looked at him.
I just sat there. And what it is it's his anticipation as to when I'm going to open up. Now one time I did make a outburst, kind of. I never do that stuff. Right?
No. He's shy and retiring. He's very
Yeah,
reserved.
yeah. I made a comment, and I thought I was going to
Get arrested.
wasn't ugly. It was just really.
So, Jim, who would
I
have
just went
who
really.
would have hauled you out over there? Did they have the state police there, or did they have a sergeant at arms, or what?
They got them security guys up there.
Are they real
But
cops, or are they just kind of
that's
rent a
when
cop?
Sarah said, that was Jim that said that. And then she told her friend up there, a couple of the girls, I hope they carry Jim out of here kicking, so then the newspaper will have to interview him. I don't want to get interviewed in the newspaper that way. But
Wait, Jim. President of Acadiana Patriots, carried out of Bessie meeting, kicking, screaming, and biting. Security guard bit. Film live at 5. Oh, this would be good.
Well,
I'd pay to see that one.
it's kind of like the Bessie guy, the reporter that outed me and got me in serious trouble about when I did the thing about the Muslims and what they were teaching in the schools.
Well, Jim, you never let the truth get in the way of a good story. I mean, that's the standard rule.
Yeah, well, that guy got a phone call from me. I think he had a real understanding.
My. There we go.
You know, you can't twist the story. The bad part is that he outed me not only on TV by showing me, not mentioning my name, it don't matter.
He just flashed your picture.
And, yeah, and then he puts my picture on their frickin' website.
Without your permission or consent.
Right, and he put my name there.
You know, technically, I think that's illegal.
Well, but I had some fun with that. I actually told him, I said he was going to Lake Charles, and I said, meet me in Jennings, we'll talk in the park. Guess what?
He didn't show.
He never showed up.
No!
I don't
I
understand.
wonder why.
I didn't threaten him, I just said we'll meet to talk.
Is there a swamp nearby?
Yeah, there's an alligator farm.
Oh, there we go. Do they hate reporters? We'll find out. Live at 5.
But you know what? I went to WBRZ, and they said he's not in.
I wonder why. You heard you coming.
Well, no, I gave the reception.
Did you see a guy running out the back door quickly after they let you in the
I
front?
gave the receptionist my name, and then she called back to somebody, and he came up and he said he's out on assignment.
I bet he is. 30 seconds after you walk
I
through the
said,
door.
well, can I go to his office and leave a note for him? Oh no, you can't do that. You know, the media has endangered the lives of good people. Me
Well, of
included.
course, truth in media is gone.
And what I reported there was not reported correctly. I was not outing the Muslims. I was outing the fact of what was happening and what we were allowing to take place. And I got outed, and it put my life in danger.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you figure it out. He switched it around. That I was crucifying Muslims. That's not the facts.
Well, actually, it's the Muslims crucifying the Christians, so I think you're okay on that,
Yeah, well.
that regard.
You got, do we want to talk about that?
Oh, that's your baby, yes, yes. Uncle Jim got turned loose after the last election on the state police commission members, and here's the
You know
story.
what? I just thought, I never got a call
Gee,
from the Ethics Commission.
remember I told you about Bobby Jindal and ethics? Mhm.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, okay.
There's laws.
There are. Not according to these people.
commissions that on the heels of possible ouster of 3 state police commission members, it's learned required online ethics courses ignored.
Jim, let me give you some context for this. Folks, I'm a retired state
You're a
employee.
police officer.
I was a retired state employee of 29 years, and every year, as far back as I can remember, we had to go through ethics training. And we were also very, very well instructed on the fact that we could not campaign, politic, put signs, bumper stickers, anything as a current active civil service employee for any politician, any political race at all, period. We were all well schooled. And the basis of this whole article is the fact that I let Jim know that the State Troopers Association violated civil service rules and went against the wishes of the state police personnel and backed Dumbbell Edwards. All of it was illegal. These people should have been fired and prosecuted. Well, here is the article about what is going on, and Jim will pick it up from there.
Well, it says, I'm going to jump around because it's a long article. Well, that bit of information has resulted in the probability that 3 commission members will be told that they must resign or be removed by Governor John Bell Edwards,
Now,
according to the story in Baton Rouge.
let me stop you right there. This is a clear violation of civil service policy and the law. Why are we not seeing a prosecution?
Here
Here
the
it
deal.
is.
The 3 members of Louisiana State Police Commission may be ousted over, here we go, campaign contributions issue. Okay, in addition, Louisiana Voice has learned that 2 of the 3 have, this is just amazing, 2 of the 3 have never complied with state ethics board requirements that they complete an annual 1-hour ethics.
That's 1 hour
class.
per year. I used to have to go through that training.
The 1-hour training consists of an online course.
Yeah, they get on the computer and type it, and it's done.
accessed through the Ethics Board webpage. I'm going to tell you something about my opinion of the Ethics Board, which will not endear me with, probably that snake would be.
Yeah, we've got the ethics right over our shoulder, that snake.
The snake is biting.
Yes.
But I have already sent an email to the Attorney General.
I would hope that Jeff Landry, being the guy that he is, would take an interest in this, because he sure took an interest in the DWI scandal of the Mike Harson administration. After the FBI got finished with Mike Harson's office, Jeff Landry went after, 6 more people? I mean, he seems to be pretty proactive, so
Yeah.
I would think as a good conservative that he should be going after these guys, because, folks, and it's not a Republican or a Democrat issue.
No, this is not a political.
This is the
issue.
fact that there are laws about civil service employees on the books that they are not allowed to go and participate in certain activities, and the Louisiana State Troopers Association flagrantly flaunted this thing. I mean, just in your face, and then they kept Edmondson. That's the best part. He's in the middle of this, and they kept him.
That was our boy, Dumbbell.
Oh, yes.
Here it is, what you just said. And as an aside, there is no record of Falcon who accused Louisiana Voice of being a common complainer, having ever taken the ethic board's online ethics
Now, in that
training.
article, didn't it also say that one of the people on that board is a judge who did not do his ethics training?
Commission Thomas Dawes. I've been jumping around. Might be on the next
I want to
page.
say that I saw that one of the people on there was a judge who didn't do ethics training.
Here it says, this is what it tells you the civil service employees and state troopers are prohibited from engaging in political activity, including making political contributions to candidates. Commission Chairman, I think you were right about a judge. I just can't. The attorney, I don't see it. I mean,
The article, when I read it through, I want to say that there was a judge that was on the board, and he didn't do his ethics training either, which was quite ironic.
Let me look back through this thing. I don't know why that cartoon's in there, but
Sometimes in Louisiana politics, we feel like we're on a cartoon.
well, yeah, it is a big cartoon.
Right now, we have Goofy running the
Here we go.
state.
The third member, you're right, is former appellate court judge Freddie Pitcher.
Who doesn't know the law as an appellate court judge and doesn't know that you can't do these things and you have to have ethics training. Wow.
Freddie
I thought I
Pitcher
read that.
of Baton Rouge, who has already indicated, stepped down, took the online course in 2013 and 2014, but failed to do so in 2015. So this is something you got to do every year.
Correct.
It's 1 hour.
Well, this is what used to
Good Lord,
happen.
in GE, I had 20 to 40
Well, Jim,
hours.
this
of
is what
classes.
used to happen with my agency. When I was working, we would have personnel from our legal team that would come down, and we would all, as an office, go into our largest meeting room. And my office was the biggest office in the state. At one time, we had 55 personnel. And we would sit there for an hour while we would go through that. And my question to the Baton Rouge people, I would always hold up my hand, and people would always duck their heads because they knew what was coming. And I would always ask, why are we doing ethics training? Because Bobby Jindal has no ethics.
Well, my question came off of the Bessie board and the Ethics Commission saying that it wasn't conflict of interest, not just for Holly Bofi, but quite a few of them. And I wanted them investigated. You know, the head of the Ethics Commission is a lawyer right here.
Well, you see, Jim, you're barking up the wrong tree, because Big Jim Fannin, Big Lake Fannin, can go and use state machinery to dig lakes, and then have himself as the owner of the property around the lake and make waterfront property, and then have his relative be the developer and then sell the lots for multi-million dollars, and there's no problem there.
I just wanted to enlighten people here.
Oh, that one there is hilarious.
We won't read the article, but
You don't
just,
have
just the title. They show a picture of a
a fence.
fence on the border, but this Arizona paper decries that border fence is too high for Mexicans to safely jump.
Especially after a swim. They're still wet after the swim.
I said we could get rid of a
You
lot
can't
of
make this stuff up.
Louisiana alligators and build a big moat and don't feed the alligators.
Well,
Crocodiles?
okay, go back on the computer and Google this, because they showed a picture of about a 16-foot crocodile that was living in the Rio Grande River that they killed and cut open, and they got the remains of several people out of it. My question was, why kill it? Why not put a Border Patrol logo on that big sucker, turn it loose, let it breed, and you have your own natural fence? I mean, I think if we put a couple more 16 or 18 footers, in fact, I think we ought to contact Australia and see if we can bring some of those nice 20-foot saltwater crocodiles
Gotta
and
put
put,
this in here real quick.
okay?
Brock said